Who can make such human eyes? Cover it with fire. Cover it in flame on Inferno 2, the Fatalis Man. The Fatalis Man can. Who can make them all scream? Who can make them beg? Make them run around and yell and fight and then they'll fail. It's the Fatalis Man. The Fatalis Man can.
Fatalis, Fatalis, heaven and earth are yours. Oh yes, my fellow hunters, welcome today as we talk the Black Dragon, the strongest monster, the third thing! And it is a lot to talk about for the Iceborne incarnation of Mr. Destroy Your Kingdom in One Evening is quite rich with little breadcrumbs of confirmations and hinting, and today we're gonna follow the trail together and hopefully end up in a wondrous place that isn't a completely empty, deserted, burnt out kingdom. But what a kingdom it is, and what a place to start. Actually getting to see such a slice of Schrade. Before, of course, we only saw, well, his kinda tiny arena and little tidbits in the background, but now we get this beautiful elevated position and we get some scope of the kingdom in very much a mountainous area and raised upon plateaus. It must have been quite the sight, quite the spectacle to behold. The full might of Schrade in its heyday is something majestic. The castle is colossal, reaching, careening to the heavens itself. It dominates the land. You can imagine it completely as a major power, a center of commerce, and altogether the place you want to be if you're anybody in ancient Monster Hunter world. And now rendered rubble, and I think that's what really gets me. Now that we get this slice backlit by blood red sky whispering to the horrors of the past, we can see just how mighty Schrade was. And then to imagine it now confirmed, by the way, raised in a single evening by Fatalis, it really shows just how powerful this dragon is, and just how deeply his hatred burns. And of course, seeing him finally display the legendary power in both cutscene and actually the hunt is just wonderful, because there is no question, no hearsay, no doubt left, at least there shouldn't be, in anyone's mind that this dragon is capable of more destruction than anything we have seen before. He quite literally can bathe the castle in fire, destroying everything down to ash. And that is as scary as it is absolutely badass. So, the first of the Fatalis legends, then, that is confirmed is that, one, he exists, of course. That is nice to know, canonically, lore-wise, for characters in the guild to talk about him, the legend, what happened, all of that stuff. It is a big historical event, that's good to know. But, of course, also confirmed that, yes, Fatalis is the end of Schrade. He is a historical disaster. That his name is not strictly Fatalis, it just came to be known as that to mark that horrific evening. Also confirmed is the uncanny effect his existence has on the world. The fact that other life forms flee, they disappear, even elder dragons. One of the mysteries telling of his coming, according to the general himself, is that monsters are going vanish. And we don't know what's happening, we don't know why. Everything is scarce. And now we do know why, because the oncoming storm that is Fatalis has everything flee before it, and rightly so. A sign of him is a sign of the stillness in the air, that his passing brings once the flames have died down. So his unnatural aura of
"Get the hell away from me, everything that draws breath,"
is very much a real thing. But it goes even deeper beyond that then. We have, of course, confirmation now of him actually melting slain hunters and their armor against him. Not only do we see him do this with his pin attack, slamming down on you using the furnace that is his glowing chest to press you against him, begin your armor and flesh bubbling alike, that you could be like, oh, maybe it's accidental, maybe it's just, maybe it's a hint towards it. But no, you can read his very material descriptions and have it confirmed that yes, this contains bits of melted armor that have been used to reinforce this ancient creature. And ancient is right, this is the same Fatalis that destroyed Schrade. It is his second coming. It's not a new Fatalis. They are talking of him as a cycle. He is coming back once again, and who knows what he will destroy this time. It's like he's a force of nature, a balancing check, kind of like an extreme version of Nergigante, where maybe instead of keeping things kind of all good, not letting any one Elder Dragon be too powerful or populated, Fatalis is just the extreme end. He is the death end, which might imply there is an opposite, a life end, a dragon that protects, that has equivalent power to Fatalis, but none of the darkness that is held within him and his evil eyes, which are said to be possessed in of themselves. Maybe tied into the creation dragon myth, who knows, perhaps? That would be fun to find out. Indeed, the Seeker does hint that, well, if Fatalis isn't the creature to end humanity, something out there still will. We're not that special, and as far as the analytics teams are concerned, well, they feel like this is not it, that there is something even more. And indeed, there's still so many questions about Fatalis. The handler puts it quite succinctly. It's what actually is going on. Is it, how deliberate is it? How much thinking is going on up there? Is he random, or is there some purpose to each one of his actions? There is so much to figure out. But another thing we have figured out is that, yes, wearing his armor drives a hunter insane, and eventually they disappear and perhaps turn into a new Fatalis. Because of course this was always on the cards, but it's like, really? Sounds ominous. There's no, proof of it. It's a little bit out there, because Fatalis' original incarnations are so mysterious. But now we have the fact that his armor descriptions, the little flavor text that they get, very much supports this idea. The chest and the helmet say what they have always said in previous games, but the waist... Fatalis armor that grants the user vast power, but will take their life if worn too long. And that, to me, is very telling. Oh yes, it is. Along with the arms, armor with the power of Fatalis makes even the wearer fear for their life. You couple that with the chest, and those who wear it are said to have terrible nightmares. The influence of Fatalis, the creeping dread, the insanity that is his post-mortem whispers. Well, I think that is a big nod towards just the very nature of him regrowing from a scale, encasing hunters that wear his armor. If you fear for your life while wearing it, why would that be? But again, that could just be taken as a hint. What really does it for me is perhaps from an unlikely source, and maybe it is just something silly they thought would be fun, but the Palico armor cannot be ignored. It literally makes your Palico Fatalis. And the description of Fatalis Palico armor steeped in an ominous aura. Rumor has it that its owners keep disappearing. And that is very much what is said to be the result of wearing Fatalis equipment. And yes, here the word rumor is still used, but I think there are enough clues that drawing lines between them and coming to that conclusion is not exactly a reach. So to me, the fact that wearing Fatalis equipment drives you insane, you go missing, it grows over you, encases you, and turns you into a new Fatalis, I mean, I'm putting that at like 90% at this point, and I think that is very, very cool to see. Then it comes to the weapon descriptions, and they're just the usual kind of edgy stuff that you might expect, like the greatsword. Those who hold this Fatalis greatsword are destined to be locked in an eternal struggle with the beast, which could also allude to the fact that his equipment whispers to you and you have to be strong enough to resist. But look, the longsword, a Fatalis longsword for reaping souls. Unhealable wounds torture those it strikes for centuries. Like, you know, it's just kinda badass slash a little bit. Okay, buddy. Alright, Fatalis. Flavor text. The notable examples for me, and I really love this, is firstly the charge blade. A Fatalis charge blade that hunters fashioned from the black dragon they helped hunt. Did they just drop them? Did they just forget last moment? Like, oh shit, they made it from the Fatalis they killed. Cool, that'll do, right? Every other weapon has just this super dark, creepy, the whir of the wicked arrows fired from Fatalis bows sing, a prelude to destruction. And then, no, for the charge blade, it's just good old a Fatalis charge blade from the dragon they hunted. Yay! I don't understand why it's so lame. But of course, to me, by far and away the worst one is the sword and shield. The ultimate power in these Fatalis sword and shield is said to shake continents with a mere slash. Sword and shield? Ultimate power?
You serious?
Look, alright, I could not resist. But it is so nice to get these little smidges of Fatalis-y goodness. It really, really is. Just enough to give us a few little, yeah, go on, he can do this. But still to leave so many questions open-ended. Still to leave so much room for mystery in the future of other monsters, perhaps on Fatalis' level, how he fits into the natural life cycle phenomenon of the world. Maybe there is so much more than just Fatalis is the end. Maybe there is yet something much more sinister, or perhaps even beautiful, to be found and explored. The world of Monster Hunter is, well, patchy at best when it comes to concrete information, and they want it deliberately that way because drawing your own conclusions is fantastic fun, and that really is something that I love to do. Look at what we know, make the logical leaps, and see if we can't paint a picture of this incredible world. But for now, that is what we can ascertain about Fatalis. That is what we can see. And the rest is still a mystery. Like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more. Please consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon below in the description. And until next time, a goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kinda relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.